Today we're going to be checking out one of the most iconic bass guitars in rock and roll history, Paul McCartney's Violin Hofner bass. Let's check it out. In the spring of 1961, Paul McCartney became the bass player of a Liverpool band called the Beatles. I think you might have heard of them. Growing up, Paul McCartney's father bought him a trumpet for his 14th birthday. Being heavily influenced by rock music, Paul McCartney knew he wanted to be able to play music and sing at the same time. It was at this time that he traded in his trumpet for his first guitar. Paul had a hard time playing guitar right-handed. After seeing a picture of Slim Whitman holding the guitar in the left-handed position, he decided to flip the guitar around and reverse the order of strings on the guitar. Though his initial solution seemed like a quick fix for him to be able to play, it wasn't that easy. He quickly realized there was issues with the nut of the guitar. Because it was reversed, the lowest string would not fit, so he had to carve away some of the nut to make it fit. On the high E string, there was a big gap. So he took part of a match and used that to fill in the area of the nut so the high E string would now fit. Pretty creative. In January of 1959, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison were playing gigs under the name Johnny and the Moondogs. In January 1960, John Lennon's friend, Stuart Sutcliffe, joined the band and they changed their name to the Beatles. In May of 1960, they changed their name to the Silver Beatles. The Silver Beatles consisted of a lineup of John Lennon and George Harrison on guitar, Stuart Sutcliffe on bass, and Paul McCartney on the drums. Sutcliffe was new to the bass, and at that time there was not a lot of electric basses that were available for purchase. Sutcliffe was able to get his hands on a 1959 Hofner 505 bass. At times when Sutcliffe did not show up, Paul McCartney would take Sutcliffe's bass, turn it upside down, and play it. Sutcliffe, as everybody knows, eventually left the band. This is when Paul McCartney officially took over the bass role in the band. Knowing he needed to find his own bass guitar, he visited the Steinway music store in Hamburg, where he found his Hofner 5-100 bass, nicknamed the Violin bass. There were a couple reasons why Paul McCartney really liked this bass. The price was one reason. Fender basses at the time were going for about £100, and at this time, the Hofners were about £30, which was much more affordable to him. Another reason that he really liked it is that it was symmetrical, and that he would be able to turn it around upside down and play it left-handed without it feeling awkward. He then ordered a custom order one, and this may have been the very first left-handed Hofner bass that's ever been created. The bass was nicknamed the Cavern bass. Because the bass is hollow, it resonates quite well. McCartney would play with the treble switch off, the bass switch on, and he would only use the neck pickup to get that rich bass sound. In 1963, McCartney received a newer version of the Hofner bass guitar. At this time, he took advantage of getting the first bass refinished, getting new pickups and pots installed. When he ended up getting the guitar back, he he used it as a backup guitar for their tours. The main difference between the 1963 Hofner bass and the original one was the pickup placement. The first Hofner bass had both pickups closer to the neck, and the 1963 model had the pickup by the bridge and one by the neck. The 1963 bass became Paul McCartney's main go-to bass. It would also be the one people would identify him with the most. From 1963 on, he would use this bass for almost all the Beatles' live performances and most of the studio recordings. In 1966, he removed the pickguard. The last time he used this guitar was for the rooftop concert. McCartney had placed a Bassman sticker from his speaker cabinet on the front of the bass. The bass today actually has the 1966 set list taped to it. It reads Rock and Roll, She's a Woman, If Needed, Tripper, Babies in Black, I Feel Fine, Yesterday, Wannabe, Nowhere, Paperback, and Long Tall Sally. Hofner says that Paul McCartney owns 5 Hofner basses. These include the 1963 Hofner bass, the backup 501, the Jubilee version, and 2 anniversary Cavern basses. Another guitar that Paul McCartney owned during his Beatle days is an acoustic 1964 Epiphone Texan guitar. This was a right-handed guitar that once again Paul McCartney flipped upside down and strung it as a left-handed guitar. McCartney used this guitar for writing songs as well as some studio sessions. He also used this guitar when he performed Yesterday live. So why did Paul McCartney choose Hofner? One, it was a brand that they were familiar with. John Lennon's first electric guitar was a Hofner Club 40. George Harrison had 2 Hofner guitars, including a Club 40, and Stuart Sutcliffe played a Hofner 505 bass. They gravitated towards this brand because at the time in England, there were many bands that were using Hofner guitars, and they were very reasonably priced. The original Paul McCartney bass was played during the filming of Let It Be / Get Back documentary in 1969 at Twickenham Studios. Soon after that, it was stolen. It was long believed that it was actually stolen from Twickenham Studios, but it did make it to the Apple Studios, where it can be seen in part 2 of the documentary Get Back. To this day, the bass has not been recovered, and even Hofner has put on their website asking for anybody to return it, no questions asked, so we can get it back to Paul McCartney. Thanks for checking out the video. Let me know if you do own this bass. Leave your comments below. Do you want to own it? Do you own it? Are you thinking about getting it? I know Hofner has recently released another version of this violin bass, and I think there's only 500 that are made. Let me know if you plan on getting that. It looks really cool. It's pretty much identical to this one, except obviously it's a newer, updated version of it. Let me know your thoughts. Did you guys check out the new Beatles documentary, Get Back? I think newer people, it gives a good introduction of the writing and creative process that goes on behind making an album. And once again, you got to keep in perspective, that was 1969. And how they did everything was pretty remarkable at that point of coming up with songs. And actually in the video, there's so many cool parts in the video of the creative process of when they came up with some of the biggest songs that the Beatles have ever written. It's pretty cool. I mean, as a Beatles fan, I have to watch it again. I almost think that, 8 to 9 hours was not enough time. I would love to watch the whole 60 or whatever, how many hours that are available of it. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Consider hitting the like button, leave a comment below, and I will see you next time. Take care.